Welcome to part 2 of our series on unemployment. So you just found yourself unemployed, you've been working at it for a while, and now the stress is starting to pile up. Next, we're going to talk about how do you handle the stress, how do you handle the pressure, and what you should do next when you start feeling that sort of weight on your shoulders. If that sounds interesting to you, or possibly to someone you know, welcome to Jensen Genius. So here's the part that most people don't tell you about. You've been job hunting for 2 weeks, a month, maybe 2 months. And all you're hearing is no, 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 in some form. Thank you for applying, thank you for your resume, sorry we're passing on another candidate. After hearing this for a while, most people start to feel rejection fatigue. It starts to feel taxing, it starts to feel depressing, and it's overwhelming for most. Well, and honestly, it's overwhelming for just a normal person who's not used to hearing that. It's a lot to take in, and it's a lot to absorb over and over again, if that's what you choose to do. But keep in mind, perspective is absolutely key. I'll tell you just a really quick story. So essentially there's two boys. They grew up in the same home. However, their father was abusive to their mom. He was never supportive. And then he ultimately ended up leaving mom to raise two young men. Kid number one felt that he had to go in the shoes of his father. He was doomed to do so. So when he grew up, he, of course, did the same things his father did. He was abusive, he wasn't dependable, he wasn't fatherly, and of course, he left his own children early. The second brother did the complete opposite. He viewed his circumstance in a completely different way. He said, I grew up this way. All signs say that maybe I could end up like my father, but I refuse to. I refuse to let this issue define me. I refuse to be stuck. So his viewpoint was he can do the complete opposite. And of course, he ultimately did. He raises his children lovingly, there, supporting, loving his wife, and really building a home that he can be proud of. So we have two brothers, grew up in the exact same home, same ages, same father, same experience. But they both placed a different perspective on their circumstances. They placed a different meaning of their circumstances. And that's key in how you're gonna get through this. When you hear a no and a no and a no, some people automatically feel like they're getting further and further away from the next step, from their blessing, from their job. They just feel like it's just overwhelmingly and it's just getting worse. Truth be told, you're getting one step closer to where you're trying to get to. You're one yes away from where you're trying to be. Sometimes it only takes one to win. You just have to keep going. It only takes one. Perspective changes everything. Information changes situations. That's what we're here for. That's what I want you guys to really hone in on. We're trying to get better at dealing with our circumstances. And I'm hoping this is helping, but I just have to tell you, your perspective, your mental attitude is gonna make all the difference in the world, because for most people who are job hunting, especially in this COVID era, and people are currently losing jobs while you're trying to find one, all signs point to this is probably gonna be more of a marathon, except for the lucky few who are able to find work immediately. But for most folks, it's gonna take a little bit of time, and certainly probably more time than what we would hope. So you have to stay positive, and you have to take a step back and not get lost in this feeling of everything is getting worse. You're getting closer. That's all that means. You're one step closer to where you're trying to get. Take a step back. Take a breather. Take a break. Go have fun. Do something fun that you like to do. Me, I'm a movie person. I love watching movies. So when I get stressed out, it's straight up, let's watch a movie, let's watch a funny show. Maybe I'll just go crack jokes with my wife. It doesn't matter. Take a step back sometimes and breathe and laugh and do something fun. Now, for a lot of people, they say don't take any days off. And I'm a pretty strong proponent on don't take any days off. However, keep in mind, going back to our scheduling plan, take your 5 days during the week and just do everything you can, because you're gonna want at least one break, maybe during the weekend. So that's completely fine, as long as you're sticking to your schedule and sticking to what you've committed to for yourself in terms of your job hunt. But certainly take a moment, a breather, and have some fun. Do something fun. Now, a lot of people may not want to go that route, and for the people who feel bad about taking a day off or doing something like that, take a day off to do something different other than look for a job. Maybe you want to take a moment, take an hour every day or something, and hone a skill that maybe you want to get better, or a skill that you don't currently have. Because after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however, in your job hunt, you'll start to see the job boards and the different postings asking for certain skill sets. If there's a certain skill set that you're able to acquire via maybe going on a website like Skillshare, for example, maybe they have options there, or something online, or maybe there's a technical book that you know you really need to sharpen up a certain skill. Maybe it's PowerPoint. Take the time away from the job hunt and maybe just learn something new or make a certain skill better. That way, when it's time to start back, you're actually better than where you left off from your last job. For me, one thing I like to do in my free time is I'll study Chinese. So sometimes that means I'll watch a Chinese movie, or sometimes that means literally getting into a book and really reading through it. Or maybe I'll go onto YouTube like you're doing and listen to Chinese conversations and just take it in and relax, and just know that you're doing something to make progress in whatever your circumstances are. And for many of us, if you're working, you can still take those moments, or maybe take a couple hours every day, or maybe an hour or 30 minutes just to work on something you know you want to be able to use and use well and use more efficiently. All right, guys, so after you've done all that you can do, you're putting in the hours, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the work. And sometimes you're gonna do that and you're still gonna feel like you're not one step closer. But keep in mind, this is a marathon. You have to keep going. But in the midst of all that, you're starting to feel it. You're definitely starting to feel the pressure. You're starting to feel the buildup of the stress. After you've done everything you can do, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a man of faith. I'm a Christian. There's gonna be a time where you're gonna have to lean on your faith. You're gonna still have to thank God in your peaks and in your valleys, especially now when it feels like you're in the wrong place. It feels like things aren't getting anywhere. You losing your job, you getting laid off, is only a surprise to you. God knew what was gonna happen the whole time. So this could be an opportunity for you to get better, or for Him to expand your horizons. I'll tell you just a really short story about me. When I was studying for the bar exam in Texas, I didn't pass it the first time, so then I was stuck having to retake it, and I was stuck having to work for a certain amount of time. I ended up working at a call center of all things. Now get this, I hated it. I felt like I was chained to a desk. I'm not living, what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm overqualified, all of these things. And I just felt terrible and I was embarrassed and I just didn't know how to handle it. However, I didn't realize that God was working His will here. I ended up working at a call center, de-escalating phone calls. Now, mind you, I didn't tell you guys this. I stuttered terribly my entire life. Terribly, even up into law school, still had this nervous stutter that I just couldn't help. So working at this call center for an extended period of time, taking escalated calls with a stutter, believe it or not, it actually forced me to figure out ways to get over my stutter. It forced me to find ways to calm myself because my brain was faster than my mouth. Take a moment, then speak. And I had to practice that over and over and over and over and over for a pretty long time, actually. Meanwhile, I'm mumbling and I'm stumbling and I'm taking these calls. I'm just trying to do the best I can. And what God did was God took that lifelong stutter from me, knowing I was going to be a lawyer, knowing that I was going to have to speak in public, knowing I was going to have to be arguing high-end cases under lots of stress against extremely intelligent people who have the completely opposite perspective than I do. You could have never told me that that was going to happen. So sometimes God stirs the nest just to get you out of it, just to get you out of where you are and make you a better person, to gain more skills, and to bless you in a way that maybe you didn't even think was still even possible. So even when you're in this valley and you think you're really, really going through it, thank Him anyway. Faith is for the places where sight fails us. And make no mistake, there's gonna be a moment where you feel like in this process, as you're job hunting, that your sight is failing you. You don't see a way out, you don't see how it's gonna get better. All you can do is just keep working. Just keep working. Keep doing what you can. Keep reaching out for your resources. Speak to people. And it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be nervous about a circumstance. Speak to your family, speak to your friends. Lean on them also to help get you through it. When it's getting harder, that's how you know your blessing is closer. That's how I've always learned I'm about to round that corner. God has something right around that corner because it starts getting harder and it's an uphill fight and things start to seem to feel like they're going wrong and worse. And it doesn't seem to be getting better. And right before you feel like you're at your breaking point, here it comes. There's the yes. There's the job I've been trying to get. I've been trying to knock on those doors and it just never happened. And here it is in the midst of a job loss, a layoff. I was so much better after having gone through this valley. So you guys can do this too. Keep working at it. Keep doing your job. Faith without works is dead. You have to have faith, but you have to still do your job. You still have to keep taking those steps until the blessing comes to fruition. So guys, I hope this all helped. Have a great day. Be good to yourself and be good to each other. See you next time.